Before we dive into the video, here is a quick note from today's sponsor. There are so many vulnerabilities out there, like prototype pollution, SQL injection, remote code execution, and more. They're fun to play with in CTF challenges, pen testing, and ethical hacking, but they're not so fun when they're in your own applications. And that is where Snyk comes in. Snyk automatically scans your code, dependencies, containers, and config files, finding and fixing vulnerabilities in real time. Here's how easy it is with Snyk. You can sign up for free with my link below, import your repositories, and there, Snyk just finds your vulnerabilities. And it's not just looking for old deprecated libraries. Snyk literally found a serious command injection vulnerability in a project of mine. So all I have to do is fix it with a single click. Snyk will open up fixing pull requests so you can just merge them into your repository and move on. And it does this all from your existing tools, IDEs, the command line, repos, pipelines, Docker Hub, and so many more. And you can see for yourself. Check it out and find out if there are any vulnerabilities affecting your projects. It's all totally free, and you can sign up using my link, snyk.co/John Hammond. Huge thanks to Snyk for sponsoring this video. Hey, how's it going, everybody? Welcome back to another YouTube video showcasing some Active Directory stuff. In the last video, we had just gone ahead and created some cool PowerShell and JSON configuration files to be able to structure and sort of, design an Active Directory environment based off of groups and users and fields that we can go ahead and define and set, and then programmatically go ahead and create and automate the construction of that environment. A lot of that code, or at least some of the pieces and things that really ran the PowerShell code to create these Active Directory environments, came from the POWERSHEL GitHub repository for vulnAD, or Vulnerable Active Directory. Now, that original structure would create a random set of users or groups, and we kind of changed it up so that we could define it as needed. But I still think there is a little bit of value in being able to programmatically create as many users or groups as you'd like in a semi-random or completely random way. So in this video, we're going to dive into doing that so that we can set up an environment that we, from a sort of red teamer's perspective, or come to approaching it as pen testers and ethical hackers, we could explore and go through the process of essentially an Active Directory environment that we have never seen before. And that is what we're going to be diving into today, at least setting that up and creating some more PowerShell code. So I hope you can strap in, and let's get started. Enjoy the ride. I'll hop over to my computer screen here. I am inside of the management client that is not joined to the domain, and yet we have a domain controller and a workstation that is joined to the domain. Let's keep using the management client to be able to write code and take notes and do things in the Windows way, as we're trying to remain in Windows for the most part for the structure and creation of all this whole thing. Anyway, I'll fire up the Windows terminal. I am going to open it as an administrator, and I'm going to move from the local admin account into the Active Directory GitHub repository that we've been working with. Now, in the past, you might remember we were working with a code, Visual Studio Code, to be able to write some actual PowerShell scripts and JSON schema to define what we want our Active Directory environment to look like. But I think it's time we up the ante and make this dynamic in a way where not only can we generate the Active Directory environment, we can generate the schema and the JSON object that we might end up using and playing with. So let's create, how about a random, let's call it .ps1, of course, random schema, random domain .ps1. I guess that's fair. Is that right? And what we can do is we can go ahead and set up some PowerShell scripts to generate random users for us, or random different groups. Now, groups, I think we could probably think up a couple different names for different groups, and maybe it's worthwhile to have these in a given list. Like, hey, rather than choosing Alice or Bob, we could have a list of potential usernames, sort of like what that vulnAD project did, but we can keep it a little bit cleaner and maybe, have different files stored and structured for that. Is that fair to say? Anyway, let's try to do that. I'm going to go ahead and create inside of the code directory a new directory for data. And let's say here are some potential group names, and we'll just end that as a .text extension, right? So we had employees, and let's just, think up some others: executives, engineers, researchers, developers. What else is there? Personnel. That's totally fine. I guess that's a fine group name. You have sales, marketing. Maybe that's a group. What other normal job operations are there? Student, I don't know, lawyer. How about that? Is that fair to say? Operations team. I think that's cool. People. Maybe that's enough. Maybe about a dozen groups is totally fine, and that way we could have some exploration with that. But this has been nice. Sure, we can define some groups that we might be able to statically put together, but being able to randomly generate a whole ton of different usernames would very much be worthwhile. So I'm curious, how could we actually get random names generator, how about that, in PowerShell? Because I want to write all this code in PowerShell. Keep it in Windows. Power tip, use PowerShell to pick a random name. How to generate random names and phone numbers. Ooh, get random can get us some numbers, but let's see what we have here. This is super tiny. It's just getting random things from a list. Okay, so I want to get this list, though. I'm going to go to this other article, and this is suggesting, ooh, we could get a list of names from the United States Census Bureau. Okay. Surnames, male first names and female first names. Let's grab each of these. And the Census Bureau is not coming through for me today. That is a 404 page not found. Okay. Random person name list. Is there someone on GitHub that I might be able to grab? How about that? Random names. Ooh, first names. That's perfect. First names.txt. Oh, this works great. How many of this? 4,000 are in here? Let's do it. I'll take this and download it. So I'm going to save this. I'll copy and paste it because I'm awful at everything. But yeah, with that, we could use first names.txt. And I'm going to assume this has both, yeah. I don't have John. You don't have just regular John? Johnelle? Okay, I'm just gonna add in myself. I see Joe and Jody. Aaron, Abby, Abigail. Are these all? Are they, oh, this is from a like full. Oh, this is very cool. This just, it looks like it's a repository, or I guess a library in Node or JavaScript or something. This is JavaScript code, JS. So first names, I don't have last names in here. Are you kidding? You gave me half of what I needed. Random last name list on GitHub. Okay, maybe this thing will give it to me. Or is it a completely... Yeah, it's the exact same. .NET random generator, random name generator, first names, random info, first names, surnames.txt. Ooh, perfect. Okay, cool. This has 149. You know, that's not bad. Let's say this is last names. .txt. Does this have a cleaner setup for first names? Or at least is my name in it? 164 lines? Yeah, you know what? Maybe that's better than 4,000 for our sake. Let's just grab that one. So the repository that I stole that from is Hippie 2094, random name generator, and yeah. That's that. Okay, now passwords. We could probably pull some weak ones from like a rocku.txt file. Can I actually see this file though? I want the text for rocku.txt. Rocku 2021. Okay. Download it. Sketch. Why are you putting a tiny URL link there? Dislike. How about this? This is gzipped. I want the text file. Okay, top 15,000. Yeah, let's do that. I don't want any bad words in here, but I'm going to assume I'm going to have a lot of bad words in here. I see them right away. Yeah. Let's clean some of those out. Here, let's do passwords.txt. I'm going to look for bad words and pause the video while I do that. Okay, so I think we have properly cleansed the, I guess, what is that, 500 or so lines for the first couple pieces of rocku.txt, a very weak password list, right? List of weak passwords. And we have last names and we have first names and we have a couple group names. So what we could do is, I suppose, go ahead and create a list, right? We could generate a random list of first names and last names, putting these all together. Let's try and do that. Can I, so let's say groups can be, I think it's an @ sign, right? And parentheses in that, how we do that. So num groups, let's just specify this to be, we had 12, so let's do 10. Question is, it probably removes it. We only have 12 group names, so for taking from this list, we'd probably have to pop them off as we added them to the groups that we want to use, right? Let's try that, I suppose, so that way everyone has a unique one. Yeah, let's try it. We can get random of the input object, as we saw kind of online, given any of the lists that we might retrieve from our group names. So let's get, I suppose, group names to actually equal the get content of data. And we know, okay, the file there is simply group names.txt. And that might be best up top side, right? Same thing with first names. And same thing with last names and passwords. So we could grab these. If I could type, my goodness. And we'll do the very, very same for passwords. I think that'll let us read it A-okay. So if I were to get random of group names, can I echo that out super quick? And can I run this? Control B? F5? What do I do to do that? Yeah, there it is. Okay. A positional or parameter cannot be found that accepts the argument get random. For echo? Are you kidding? Can I just run like that? There we go. Okay. I don't know how well you can see that. I realize it's very, very tiny, so I'll hop back over to my terminal and run that with random domain. Now, it is randomly grabbing a number of things. Can I pop that off? Is there a way for PowerShell remove from list? I guess I'm using Bing, aren't I? I am using Microsoft Edge. Okay, so I need to delete it. List get item by ID. Yeah. Wait, what the heck? Items at that delete? Is that... Do I have to index it by that? That's so weird. Oh, and you can do it from an array list. That's super interesting. Can we just do that? Can we get it as, and then cast it to an array list? That's called a what now? System collections array list. Let's try to do that. So we retrieved it with get content. Let's cast it to a system.collections.array list type. collections with an S, please. Okay. So now we have group names. And now I could remove lawyer. Okay. 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 Could we have done that the way that I did that to begin with? Was I just stupid and using the delete function rather than remove? Group names. Remove lawyer. Okay, so no, it does need it to be an array list. We can deal with that. System collections array list and cast each of these as needed. This way we'll always have something unique because we'll be able to remove it from the list. So we can do a for, what is that? I is equal to 0. I think we can do this. I is less than num groups. And then can I do an I plus equals 1? I think that's how I'll have to do it. So we can say new group can equal this. Can I add that to a group? Group name, I guess groups plus equals a new group, maybe. And then group names remove that group that we chose, ultimately. So I can echo now groups, which should have pulled in 10 unique groups out of the list of 12, correct? Random domain, oh gosh. Cannot validate argument on parameter input object. The argument is null, empty, or an element of the... Why? Group... Excuse me? That did it a heck of a lot more than 11 times. And that worked. So... Did I do my PowerShell for loop wrong? I don't think so. Num equals 1. Num is less than that. Num plus plus. Plus plus, please. Group names. Groups plus equals new group. Group names dot remove that new group. Yeah? Plus equals 1 does not work. But okay, now we have a random list of user or groups. So we could do that very, very same thing for the number of users. Let's go for 100 users. So let's say first name can equal get random input of first names, and then last name can equal, why do I have 2 parentheses now? Let's do the exact same thing for last names, and password can equal to get random from passwords. So we need to go ahead and create a groups and users, which I suppose this needs to actually be a list. Oh gosh, that's kind of a pain. Because we need to create like a hash table or like an object, like a dictionary object for it. So maybe that's not awful. Let's say new user can equal, how do we do that hash table? Is that like curly braces for it? So name can equal, is that how it's done? Let's test that. First name space last name as we build this. And let's do that here. John Hammond. Yeah? So now we have a new user, and that is set the way that it should be. Okay, so it is an equal sign. And we know that their password can equal the password that it retrieves. And groups can be... How many groups could users be in? Maybe 1 to 2 or 3? Who knows? It doesn't matter. We can probably just honestly choose a random one because this isn't all that important. We can always improve this later if we need it. Groups can equal a list of a get random input group. And let's do it from our generated groups rather than the entire group names list. I should be using an equal sign there. Okay. And I believe that will work. Does PowerShell not like me having these new lines? Is that what it's whining about? Why are you... No. You're fine, man. You calm down. Do you just need to be a string? Is that why you're complaining? No? You're just complaining. Can I use this? Ugh. Why? It doesn't like commas? That's what you're telling me? No way. No way. Ooh, missing type name? What are you talking? Oh. You need to be a list, and PowerShell does that with the @ parenthesis weird things. Whatever, who cares? So now we need to remove these. First names, remove first name. Same thing with last name. Just so we maintain a unique results for everyone. Yeah. So with that, we can echo our new user object, and let's see if it works. We generate 100 new users. So, yeah, it does it. Okay. These are kind of a mess, but it works. Name, password, groups. Yeah. Good enough. Looks like it's churning them all out. So with that, we should create now a hash table of the domain can equal xyz.com. Actually using an equal sign, correct? The groups, oh gosh, this is kind of the pain, because let's just make groups be a hash table as we know it, because we knew we were defining those as group, name being its name, right? Yeah. So groups can equal groups now that we've generated them. And users can equal users now that we've generated them. And it does not like commas. So if we echo that out, can I run that? Okay, all created, seemingly. Users has not been being put together. Users needs to be a list, and we need to add our new user to it. So users plus equals new user in that mix there. After we retrieve all the properties that we wanted. Yeah? There we go. Okay, so can I convert that now to JSON? And yes, I can. Very, very cool. Why is PS path in that mix there? I do not like that. What is all this crap? I did not ask for any of that. Where is that coming from? is... Convert to JSON? That's not coming from like the pipeline, is it? No, it's just showing up. Managers, lawyers. We're not echoing that out, are we? Groups and users, we define. Oh, users already existed, so that was weird. But what is up with these? Am I missing something? I probably am. No. The users looks fine. Groups is being weird. What is it adding? New group equals get random input object group names. Group names is a system of the group names. Groups equals plus equals the name, and group names, it removes the new group. So all that groups is being added to is the... Maybe it's worthwhile to create that as an object and then add it to the group. I suppose. Does that work? It's very, very confusing with the singular and plural vernacular, but no. Why? PowerShell PS path included in hash table? If we don't include the groups, does it behave? Seemingly, we have domain and we have users. Whoa, groups is weird. Why? Get random input object groups. Groups is being created just fine though. No. It's now that it's a list, it doesn't know. Get random input. So dot name is what it needs to pull there. There we go. Okay. So name equals the random group, which is a group name. Let's do group name actually equals that. And groups add group. Oh, I promise I'm sane. Their password was haughty. Look at that one. That's a good one. So if I put groups back in, does that behave? I don't think it will. No, and I don't know why. Group name. Group names, which gives me a string. How are we not... First name, last name. Is it just because it... We're taking the string of it. That's it. What the junk? Oh, God, I hate PowerShell so much. And why did we decide to do all this in this language? Okay. So, ultimately, we now have it converted to JSON, and we can now write to a file, and we'll write it to our AD schema. I suppose we can write it to our own, hey, mandatory parameter JSON output JSON file. How about that? So that way we can write out to output JSON file at the very end of our script. We've added this mandatory parameter to run our random domain, and it will spit it out in out.json. Yeah? So now I can code out.json, and this will give me a totally random, randomly generated actual Active Directory domain setup with a name of a user, the password, and groups needs to be a list though. from our previous 80 schema, that was a list. So we are not yet done. How can we fix that? Groups equals... Why did you not make that a list? Is it because it... I don't get it. It should be a list. Convert to JSON. PowerShell convert to JSON single entry array, I suppose. It's a different issue, it seems like. Yeah. Array, it always returns 1. Oh no. As array. Use the as array switch. As array is only supported in PowerShell core. If val is either the empty array, a scalar, or an array, send comma val to convert JSON via the pipeline to ensure that it gets serialized as an array. That's whack. That's wild. Can pass the objects with that? I don't like that. But convert to JSON that as that. Does that look any better for us? Random domain, let's put it to out.json. Let's go back to code. Let's look at out.json. And now stuff's muffed up. It's just a bunch of hash tables. Okay, so that's not going to work for us. Are we using PowerShell core? Wait. Convert to JSON input object from it? Is that how it's done? Is that how it should be done? Maybe that's it. And then rather than passing it through the pipeline, we supply it as its full object here and then output it as needed. How about that? Okay. No. Still a singular scalar. Groups is being set and not being made as a list. Do I need to do as array? Is PowerShell core going to behave or do that properly? Nope, doesn't like that because I'm not in PowerShell core. This is such a gross, weird edge case, man. Let's do out.json so we don't have to keep typing that over and over again. But compress is what some people suggest using. Okay, so now it's made it all like one line, but groups is still not a list. Ugh. How do I fix that? Val is either the empty array, a scalar, or an array. Send it to convert JSON via the pipeline. Empty array, a single object, and an array. Does it need to be within, like, not using this? Is that how it needs to be done some way, somehow? Turn it out. Out.json. No. And compress still tightens it up, which I don't think I want anymore. But groups is not a list. This is killing me. Like, you can have an empty string in there, but that just ruins it more so, does it not? Yeah, it doesn't do anything then. Yeah, it just adds an empty string. It tries to join them. That's so stupid. All right, I'm going to pause and figure this out. Okay, well, granted, maybe it is correct in a strange way. If it's only one group, then it just does that. Maybe we should mess with our own generator. Because if user groups is just one, will it do that? Let's say convert from JSON this string. Can I do that? Is that how that's done? Or you use an @ sign to do that? What? Stop. Can I convert from JSON input object? Well, let's just pass it in. So cat out.json piped in there. And now let's grab the users, and then let's grab the 0th user. It's the very last or first one, right? And if I said groups, can I do for each group in this? Can I echo the group marketing? So because it's only one, it'll still do it just fine. Maybe that's not an issue whatsoever because of whatever weird idiosyncrasies PowerShell does. Suppose it's worth a try. Yeah. So what I'm gonna do is probably revert back this fresh domain setup, and then let's copy over the new randomly generated domain and run it and hope that it works. Is that so wrong? Do I still have my cred for my credential? No, I don't. Okay, so let's create a new one. Cred can equal get credential. So we can save our credentials for our XYZ domain. Good. And he's still applying computer settings, but we should eventually be able to say our DC will be a new PS session to 192.168.111.155, and credential will be our cred. Is access denied because it's not yet started? No, it's fine. Okay, so I was just all wrong on the clock. So let's copy file AD schema. Nope, sorry. We want to use our out, so let's get our generator over to our DC on C Windows tasks. Copy item. Item is the name of it. There we go. Now that gets sent over, now we can use our out.json. Okay. And now we can go ahead and enter our PS session, correct? To get into the domain controller. And here we are. Now we're on the domain controller. Let's go into Windows tasks. Let's try and run our generator script. It needs our JSON file, and we will use our out.json randomly generated one. And it's bloody. User Austin Nash is not added to group sales because it does not exist. Ooh, you have a space at the end? Oh, it's failing for passwords, so we do need to fix the password complexity. And was there more there? Oh, God. New AD user is not working. So what groups did you create? Let me filter on anything. Lawyer, personnel, employees, engineers. So it created them all. Is our out complaining because of the space? I think it is. And the reason that is complaining is no reason whatsoever. That should not have a space in it. That should not. Did I just not run random and properly remove the space? Let's go back to code. Yeah, okay. So I just didn't run it like an idiot. You know, we should honestly probably make like a remove JSON thing where it'll tries to delete all of these and probably a delete function. I think that would be worthwhile. Let's do a remove AD group. In which case, I think we can do that. Let's get back to our session. Does that work? Oh yeah, it takes the identity and we can just say like lawyer. And we will need to run pass confirm. I think. Confirm : true? Is that how we do it? And the identity, which we can say lawyer. Do we need a colon there? I do. Equals? No. Or force? Maybe that's it. Why? PowerShell. Skip confirm. Confirm : false. Oh. So we just have to tell it no, stop asking. Okay. That's fine then. So our code to remove AD group can be remove AD group, and based off of identity being the name and confirm : false. Perfect. Now we could do the very same for AD user, but we didn't end up creating any because of our password policy. So let's figure out how can we remove the password policy. PowerShell remove. Whoa. Disabling password complexity via PowerShell. To disable the group policy passwords to meet complexity requirements, use secedit, and we export the configuration to a temporary file, and then you nerf the password complexity by replacing it with 0, and then you write it out and reconfigure it to the local database thing. Okay. Okay. Cool. We can trust that, can we not? Let's build a function for that. Weaken password policy. Yeah? And then we trust it. Let's just throw that in Windows tasks. The reason that I keep putting things in Windows tasks, by the way, is because it is world writable. Like literally anyone, any user, I believe, should be able to go ahead and write to it. And GC can be get content. RM we know is remove, really. And let's slap in the proper path every single place that we go. I think that's good. I think that's good. That probably will whine, but let's weaken the password policy to very start our script. And I think we're good in that front. We can finish the remove AD user just after. I want to go ahead and actually test this. So I'm going to go back to reverting our domain controller, and starting him up. And we'll go back to running as we did before. I still have my cred at this point, correct? Oh gosh. What is happening? Oh. The session died, so it's lost. No, I killed that shell. Dang it. Oh, yeah, it's going to try and reconnect. I no longer have my cred. I no longer have my credential variable. Okay, Active Directory. Move into code. That's okay. At least this gave that machine time to start back up. So let's verify cred, and let's run the exact same commands we have always done in the past. I don't know how you guys watch this stuff. How is this remotely interesting? I don't think it is. New PS session. Give it the IP address. Please connect. Excellent. Let's copy our ./out.json to session DC in tasks. Yeah? Okay, now let's do the same with our AD generator, or sorry, gen AD with the hyphen for to session. And now let's enter our PS session and try and run this and see how bad we blow stuff up for the second time. Okay. Gen 80, out.json. Please God. Woo! Okay, so some are still complaining. Password length does not meet the criteria, but some seem to work. So let's check the users that we created. And we have Caroline Green and Natalie Campbell and Lisa Mitchell. So can I log on as L Mitchell? And I have no idea what her password was. However, we could try and brute force it. That's part of the fun here. Or we can check our a.out. Lisa Mitchell is Estrella for her password. Caroline Green, Natalie Campbell. Let's try Lisa Mitchell. Can my workstation actually log in with this, or is it going to have the same error that we saw in the last video? If it is, it's going to be a huge bummer, because the way that we solved that previously was like restarting twice to rejoin the domain. I think there has to be a better way to do that, not going to lie. But let's try it. Let's see how we look. Let's log in with XYZ as our domain. And L. Mitchell? Estrella? But we could do it with Alice, except Alice doesn't exist anymore, so you know. Let's do our local admin. Let's try and fix that. I thought I was Googling the security database on the server does not have a computer account. How to fix. Someone suggested GPO that does set the primary domain fix. The domain suffix. The domain suffix is getting in the way, whatever that means. So on the computer that's having trouble, start run rsop.msc. Log in with any admin user, and you want to go to computer configuration, admin templates, network DNS client. Okay. So a management client. Let's pivot back over here. rsop.msc. It needs some snap-in resultant set of policy. Presumably. Setting it up. Okay, cool. So now we need computer configuration. What was that called? Computer configuration, admin templates, network DNS clients. I don't see that. Oh, I should probably run that as administrator, huh? Nah. rsop.msc. Okay. Now that's inheriting the admin stuff, so it should be able to actually see the admin templates. And let's see if I can fix this way. Computer configuration. It doesn't show it. Computer to computer properties. Select the tab which allows you to computer name. Ensure the computer name and suffix are in sync with the domain name. So full computer name should be thisthing.mydomainname.com. Ah. Computer. So let's go to this PC. Or my PC. View your PC name. Full device name, xyz.com. That's what it should be. Full computer name, .xyz.com. And the domain is .xyz.com. Is the domain wrong? Is it because I connected to XYZ on its own and not xyz.com? Nope. That's perfect. Why? I feel like he should have a different name. Maybe that's what's doing. It'll probably have to reboot. Obviously, I have to change the host name. But I feel like even after one reboot, then it's totally fine. And maybe that's what I needed to do. Oh, I have to have domain credentials to do that. Maybe a reboot is all that it needs. You know what? Maybe I should do a better job of actually like having that workstation off when I make the changes to the domain controller and then just booting it up as needed to test the new domain accounts. We're learning together, as painful as it might be. Okay. So now we can log into XYZ. L. Mitchell. Estrella. No. Rejoining the domain is stupid. I must be doing something crazy wrong, and I got to figure this out. But we spent a whole lot of time in this video, and I think it's about time that we wrap it up. We still obviously have things left to do, but... Let me go verify this, and we'll call it a day. Okay, I am rebooting after removing it from the domain. Okay, now I can log in as my local admin account. And this is frustrating, my friend. I'm not going to lie. Can I join an actual domain through the GUI at this point? Or are you going to tell me, like, no, do it through whatever? Oh, you got it. Ultimate alternatives, yeah. xyz.com, all caps. XYZ administrator, password 123 exclamation point. Now this will have to reboot again. Add an account. No. Ooh. If you skip this step, the person will have default permissions. Totally fine. After restart now. That looked better. I don't know if that's just because, hey, we created new accounts that time. Or I don't know what was different on that. But once I reset the domain again, it'll probably be all broken. So, okay. Cool. L. Mitchell. Estrella. Yes! Yes! Finally! I suck. I'm gonna pause and regain my composure. Okay, everybody. We are logged in as Lisa Mitchell. And we have created a handful of accounts. I don't know how many we have. We were supposed to have 100. If I measure object, will it tell me? Yeah, just give me all of them. 103. Okay, we have 100. Do we have all of them? Joseph, Karen, Sutherland, Phil, Luke Smith. Was it just whining about the passwords but still creating the users and still setting them? It was not happy with the password policy, but it still did it. Phil McKenzie. So P. McKenzie would be his identity, right? Can we get a user object based off of the filter McKenzie? Here. Identity P. McKenzie. He exists. And yet he had the error. Does our out.json, his password is ABC123. Can we log in with him? So he is P. McKenzie, ABC123. Oh, account is disabled because of the bad password policy. So the account was created, but interesting enough, seemingly did not let me log in. Interesting. Okay, so we still have stuff to clean and mess with, but I gotta admit, guys, I'm a little spent after dealing with some of those shenanigans and fighting my way through that. I don't know if you're feeling the same, but we have made some progress and we have new code to be able to randomly put together and cut through, and probably bad code, but you know what? It's coming together and setting up this domain for us. I think there might be more that we could do to cut up the password complexity. In fact, I know I keep extending this video even more and more than I should, but I do want to be able to check, how does this look? If let's take the management console, let's run our secedit, and now let's copy that secpol with the copy item. Let's do we still have our DC connection, right? So we can copy item from session from C Windows tasks secpol.cfg into this directory. Can we not? Oh, no, I have to actually supply the session. Okay, so that copied it. Now I can check out what that policy contains. And this, I think, is what we're looking for. Okay, minimum password length needs to be reconfigured because that is still something that is getting in the way. We can do the same replace that we were doing just previously, and maybe that's what's necessary. But my friends, let's do that in the next video because, my God, this is taking forever. So... Goodness gracious, we are getting closer. Let's go ahead and push what we have and keep track of everything that is next on the docket. Let's actually remove our out as well. And then in the next video, we'll clean it up and then finalize being able to attack this thing. I think that's good. I think that's a-okay. Git commit. Added code to be able to sorta randomly generate users. Save and quit, git push. And we still have some things to do, but my friends, we will do it in the next video. Goodness gracious, everybody. Thank you so much for hanging out. I feel awful. I feel like that was a garbage video. We were fighting through wall after speed bump, after hurdle, after whatever got in the way. Thank you for sticking with it. If you happen to, maybe there was still some good learning value and we're still cutting through new problems and we know what is next for us on the roadmap. But pretty soon we're going to dive into Kali Linux and actually do some real hacking, do some more pen testing, do some ethical hacking, red teaming, penetration testing stuff. Hopefully all the fun stuff because we have a whole lot to do. We can do Bloodhound, Power View, DC Sync, Golden Ticket attacks, Impacket, all of the stuff, DNS admins, a whole lot of stuff we want to cover, but it's all coming soon, and we're still tilling the ground and laying the foundation to be able to do that. So thank you, everybody, for sticking with this. I hope you're enjoying everything thus far, and we'll keep cruising. I'll see you in the next video, everybody. Take care. I love you. Goodbye. Goodbye now.